who might have had these interactions revealed something about the human brain that people at the time didn't know, but now has been confirmed not only by us, but by multiple other laboratories who have nothing to do with the paranormal aspects of this, but have shown that the caudate is involved in intuition and intelligence. Now, why it's important is that is intimately involved with perception. And so if perception is about seeing something that's in front of you and not ignoring it, then maybe you have part of the solution why certain people see something that others don't. And we all know the story of one of the gorilla walking across the stage. Right?
So these people who are having these experiences with unidentified aerial phenomena, they actually have differences in their brain in some of the cases you've seen that might explain why they're seeing.
Yeah, that they're basically smarter and they realize what's sitting in front of them and they don't ignore it. I mean, that doesn't mean that they're magic. It just means that they see something for what it is. And so that does, I mean, people have asked me, well, is this area of the brain created by the interaction? No, because in some of the individuals, we actually were able to go back and look at their MRIs 10 years earlier and see that they still had it. They're born with it. And what's fascinating is it runs in families.
I was going to say, have you tested yourself?
Yes, my family has it. We're way up on the scale. There's one physicist I know who's like twice as much as, so it's my mother, my brother, and my sister-in-law.
Because since I did the documentary last year about my book, I've been amazed by the number of people who've told me that the phenomenon of sighting these objects and having these weird experiences that I suppose you could call paranormal, it runs in the family.
Yeah.
Mum had, dad, granddad.
Yeah.
It's quite common.
Yeah, I mean, and so I wouldn't turn it into a movie script of some sort of magical ability. It's just, if it's a feature of intelligence, then no surprise that it gets passed down family to family. What I find fascinating is it's almost like it's a dominant trait, because if it's a multigenic trait, multiple genes all coming together to enable a certain, what we would call phenotype, it would be much more disparate and less likely to be passed within immediate families. But the most interesting thing is this. It's found in about 1 in 100 people, on average to 1 in 200 people. In a group of about, let's say, 20 people, we found 2 husband-wife pairs, both of whom had it. Okay, do the statistics. If it's 1 in 100, to basically find the other person in that 1 in 100 randomly is 100 squared, 1,000, right? Or 10,000, sorry. And so, but to have 2 people find it in the same group is an even bigger statistical flaw or anomaly. So what does that mean? It means that these people are either in a limited breeding group, right? They all went to the same school and they're smart, or they're somehow attracted to each other. That smart people are attracted to other smart people. So what does that do? From a really fascinating evolutionary point of view, this is what you would call the beginnings of speciation. So speciation is when you have a uniform breeding population, and let's say a mountain range over time comes between them. They now are separated, no longer interbreeding, they go in their own directions.
So people who are attracted to UFOs are attracted to each other?
In a way, yeah, or capable of seeing. Let's just say capable of seeing. I wouldn't say that they're attracted to UFOs. I would say that they're. I would say, in the simplest point of view, that this area of the brain, which is now being replicated in numbers of studies, the caudate especially, and size and interactions is related to intuition and intelligence, are smart people are attracted to other smart people.
Gary, the one area that I've wrestled with as a journalist in this field is dealing with people who claim to have been abducted, people who claim experiences with humanoid entities.
Right.
And my gut instinct is to immediately be dismissive, to say, it's rubbish, this can't possibly be true. How do we even begin to investigate claims like that?
I struggle with it as well. I hear these stories, I know people who've made these claims. The problem is that there is no, or rarely, any residual evidence of the event. right? And others have said, well, why didn't they pick up a pen, an alien pen and bring it back? I don't know, but you have a psychological trauma of some sort that's occurred. Again, people would call it maybe a screen memory for a traumatic event that was otherwise best earthly explained. But I don't know what to do about it. I really don't, except just to say that it's just more evidence on a pile that needs to be understood.
Which is why we were drawn to the story of Jim from Texas.
Okay.
Jim's a guy who claims to have had abduction experiences ever since he was a little boy. He describes beings with big heads, grey heads, coming through the wall to take him away. Some of it sounds fantastic. And then all of a sudden he tells us he's got this sphere, this object that he was given by a friend, that the friend saw fall from a UFO, a craft of some kind. Now we're not saying, let's be clear, we're not saying that Jim's got extraterrestrial technology or alien tech. But what can we do to objectively investigate that as a scientist yourself?
Well, I have seen the videos that you've seen of this ball spontaneously rolling around the floor. And Jim has apparently had this for 40 years. And so, why would it move? What kinds of propulsion inside might be used to conventionally explain it? Well, you can imagine some sort of movement lines up a spring, you put it on the ground, and that is why it moves around at some level. But why would anybody make something like that?
And why would anybody expose themselves to public ridicule by claiming that it's alien technology?
Well, the most interesting thing about this story is, that the metal sphere story came to my attention because of a gentleman in England had been noticing in a lot of the pictures of claimed UFOs that they were often, you'd have the central object, and then there would be at least 3 or 4 of these metal spheres that would be surrounding, almost as if they were scouts or guards. And it's fascinating because he could go back 30, 40 years and find this exact same phenomenon. You would have the central UFO, and then you would have 3 or 4 spheres around it. So you could claim that any individual picture was a UFO. But this story of the spheres, these objects, really didn't happen until recently. So how did a hoaxer, multiple hoaxers know 5 decades ago to not only put a UFO in the picture, to put 4 or 5 spheres? Because I have never heard this story before, and I've read a lot.
You've heard of the Betz spheres?
I've heard of them. I don't know as much about it as I need to.
There was a family in Florida in the mid-1970s who found in a forest a metallic ball, slightly smaller than the one that we've seen, but nonetheless a solid metallic sphere. It did the same sort of things that are being described by Jim. It moved around on its own accord in the house and became the subject of great hilarity and fascination by different media, and indeed the US military got involved. And at one stage they admitted that they couldn't explain it.
I can't remember, did they take it and return?
They did. The US Navy took it for testing, and apparently when it came back it didn't work.
It didn't work anymore. They probably just substituted it for something else.
Sure.
So, as you know, I'd love to get my hands on one of these things and investigate it.
Well, we've got samples that we'd like to give you in your lab. We took, as you suggested, some scrapings of the corrosion on the side of the sphere. What could you do with those?
I would do the same kind of mass spectrometry experiments that I've done before, and then also there's a kind of non-destructive analysis you can do. It's called an electron backscatter approach to determine what some of the elements are. Any mass spectrometry approach is inherently partly destructive, so I would be using the least of destructive approaches for this.
Now, one thing I hadn't thought about, we were obviously at one stage keen when we were in Texas to get this thing scanned in some way, but Obviously, if there is a remote possibility that this is some kind of technology, it's not just a steel ball, nobody's going to put it to a scanner until they know what's inside.
Well, I wouldn't put it in a scanner unless that scanner was in the middle of a field surrounded by concrete, because I wouldn't want something bad to happen.
So it's a big issue. How on earth can we prove what Jim says about that object?
So I think there are very simple mobile scanners that might cost a few $1,000s that you wouldn't mind using. First of all, to see if there's any kind of structure inside of the object. As you know, you measured the weight, you measured the circumference. We could figure out what the density was.
Was the density significant to you?
It wasn't pure iron. Basically, that the size of it, if it were iron or anything else, it wasn't pure iron.
Which means it's a manufactured alloy of some kind.
It's a manufactured alloy, or it has steel on the outside and it has something else on the inside.
Now, one of the explanations that was given for the Betts ball when it was discovered in the 1970s was that it was part of a ball valve, that it was identical to or similar to a ball valve that's found inside some industrial technology. I guess that's possible with this one.
It is. It's always the story and then the provenance of the object and how long do you trust the story? And is there any other anomalous behavior of the object? Well, it does move around, and so I kind of find that fascinating. It makes me wonder why. And we've talked about, conventional ways it could still do something like that.
Because it's possible. I mean, we all conceived when we saw it. It was moving around within a few minutes of when we put it on the ground. It appeared to be stopped. It appeared to be stable, but then somehow it started moving. So maybe it was movement from us walking across the floor or something like that that made it move. We can't exclude that possibility.
Right.
Is there a machine, even assuming one can get access to be allowed to use the machine, but is there a machine that can look through discs?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a standard, and whether anybody would let you do it is really the question. But I would say that there are people I know in the government that would have such instrumentation.
I don't know if Jim would let the government have it.
I know that's part of the problem. I'm not sure I would want to get it to them either. But we'll see.
When you say the government's been involved in a cover-up, do you think they've been concealing?
Oh yes.
It's an amazing.
I know it for a fact. I mean, I just
why do you know that?
Because I've spoken to the people who are about to come out and whistleblow.
Wow. So you know what's coming.
Yeah.
So there has been a cover-up.
Yeah. And there's been an active cover-up. And what's nice, actually, frankly, about the transparency is the machinations and maneuvering of people who've been keeping things behind the scenes. The light has been shown on them. I mean, just look at what the Department of Defense announced last week. They announced an office to study the phenomena. Money put aside. They said, we're going to go back to 1947.
Which is incredible. That's the date of Roswell.
Yeah, 1947. We want a list of every operation that you've done to disinform and misinform. We want, this is fascinating that they did this, we want a list of all of the NDAs, the non-disclosure agreements, that have been instituted around these kinds of programs. Why is that interesting? It's not the NDAs themselves, it's the people who signed the NDAs, because that then is the paper trail to the individuals and the programs in which that they're associated.
Are you aware of a document called the Admiral Wilson document?
Yes.
Do you think it's genuine?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, I know Eric Davis, and Eric is of a kind of character that it's just impossible for him to lie.
The significance of that document is that the former immediate director of the Defence Intelligence Agency, Admiral Thomas Wilson, allegedly had a conversation with Dr. Eric Davis, a renowned physicist, where he imparted his discovery that there was a secret UFO reverse engineering program going on inside the US government where they were hiding recovered spacecraft. And it was being hidden in private aerospace, in a private aerospace corporation. Now, the journalist in India thinks Americans can't keep secrets. I mean, everything leaks in this country.
And this is an example of it.
So you take that in.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it did.
Ultimately it leaked. But what was interesting was that how it was found. It was found in Edgar Mitchell's effects after he died. So it wasn't like anybody went out of their way to put it out there. And it had been
Apollo 14 astronaut.
right.
Yeah.
And Eric Davis had written it, and I don't know what the story was as to how Edgar Dr. Mitchell got a hold of it, but nobody was looking to actively reveal this. It was the work of journalists who finally got hold of Edgar's materials, who decided to release them. Why would Eric Davis lie about writing something that he never intended to go public in the first place? He was just doing what an intelligence agent does on a regular basis, which is write reports of what it is that they've been doing.
And Eric, quite conspicuously, has never made any comment one way or the other about the veracity of the document.
Right. Well,
He can't, can he?
he can't, but well before this came to light, I already knew of the document. So, because, Eric was part of a group that I was associated with around this.
The implications of that are mind-blowing, Gary.
Yeah.
I mean, this conversation, you told me that you believe on evidence that there is a non-human intelligence of advanced technology on this planet.
Right, advanced capabilities. Now, I don't know whether it's a technology per se, because I'm leaving open the idea that it's some form of consciousness that is non-material. And I don't say to my colleagues out there, I know this all sounds absolutely crazy, but if you've seen the things that I've seen, you would only be able to come to a similar conclusion. I know, again, my reputation takes a hit. I'm sure that there are, prizes and other things that I am never going to get because I'm talking about this. And that's nowhere near as important as this subject matter to me.
The best science, isn't it, is when you go against the grain.
Yeah. Well, that's the, Thomas Kuhn's book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. Eventually, the anomalies and the things that don't fit the picture add up to the point where you can't ignore it. And so that's what has just recently happened. We're watching the Kuhnian moment.
This is huge, isn't it? We're at a huge moment in human history right now.
To me, either it's a gigantic folie à deux, right? It's a folie à bazillion people, or it's real. And so, on the off chance that it's real, I'm willing to spend any amount of time doing it. The Mega Millions Powerball is this week. Guess who went down and bought 20? Even though I know that there's 1 out of 300 million chance that we're going to get it.
And I think you'd spend all the money on science.
I probably would.
I wouldn't be doing my job, Gary, if I didn't come back to the fact that you've spoken to some of the whistleblowers.
Mm-hmm.
How hard has it been for them to come out of the black world and admit that they know about a government cover-up?
Well, I think it's been extremely difficult for them up until what Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon have accomplished, right? Basically getting the U.S. government to come out and create now an atmosphere of allowance to talk about it. It happened even 2 years ago with the Navy, where they said, now we want you to tell us about these events that you're seeing. We want you to stop hiding.
Do you believe that, though? I'm sorry, I'm very cynical about the idea that elements of the US Armed Forces have suddenly undergone a religious conversion and decided that they want to be disclosure activists. I just don't buy it. I think the US Air Force in particular is trying to gag this whole story.
Yes, but you just used the word religious experience. It's I hate to say it, it's pretty well known that the people within the government who are the most anti-letting of this information out are religious fundamentalists who believe that this is, I mean, talk about crazy. They're the ones who think it's the devil. Right?
So they're saying it's demonic. I mean, I've actually had conversations with people in the US Air Force who've told me this is demonic. Right. You shouldn't be looking at this.
Right.
This is evil.
Right. And so how do you counter that kind of worldview? To me, even if it is demonic, I want to understand what they're doing and what their intent is.
Well, that was my next question. Do you think, on the evidence, it's well-intentioned, whatever it is?
I think it's neutral, to be honest.
It's ambivalent.
It's ambivalent, and if we kind of get in the way of whatever it is they're doing, you can get hurt.
Do you think the others, whatever they are, these aliens that you believe are here, do you think they want to be known about?
Well, they're obviously not doing much to hide themselves, right? I think they're showing us what they can do, right? They do show up. They've showed up around the nuclear sites. We all know this now.
We've seen them over bases in Australia.
Right. We've seen them around the USS Nimitz, and it happens multiple times a week. I mean, even today, and I've been speaking to people about that.
By definition, that's a threat, isn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're going to kill us.
No.
It's by definition a threat because they're breaching the security of some of the most sensitive military installations on the planet.
Right. And I guess what they're saying is, well, who said this was your space anyway? But I mean, so why the interest in nuclear sites? I mean, I said this before that, so humanity, I think, is on the verge of leaving the planet, as we know. And I think any intelligence that would be looking at us from the outside, that's been around as long as perhaps they have, knows what the trajectory of humanity might be. And that would be to move out into the solar system and maybe eventually, even if it takes conventional means to accomplish it, move out into other stars. So here we are, a planet full of angry monkeys, and we can't even take care of our own planet. And we're threatening to move out into the nearby galactic arm. Might take us 1,000, 10,000 years to do it. Maybe our neighbors want to know what it is that we're capable of doing.
There's a document I wrote about in my book called Slide 9. And Chris Mellon had accidentally left it on a website. It was discovered by a very clever British researcher who was just going through and checking to see what Chris had on his website. It's a document that was prepared, a briefing document, for the Undersecretary of Defence by members of the UFO task force. I think it was on that. But the key thing about it is that it advises that whatever the phenomenon is, it's capable of manipulating human perception, human consciousness.
Right.
It can make us see things that aren't there. Do you think that's possibly what we're seeing in the sky?
I think that's part of what makes it so difficult to reproduce, is that different people see different things. I mean, the best example of this that I know is a story that Jacques Vallée brought to me of a family in France driving down the highway. This was like in the last 5 to 10 years. And they had a glass-topped car. And they look up and they see a UFO, basically paralleling them down the highway. The mother looks around and sees that no other individuals nearby are freaking out about this thing above them. The children in the back take out their cell phones, take a picture of it. They get home and they look at the pictures on their camera, and they don't see an object. They see a little star-shaped thing about 30 so feet above them. I have the picture that doesn't look anything like a drone. It's like I think it has like 7 spokes and a central pole of some sort. So you're left with this. They saw a giant craft. The picture shows that there was nothing else there. Nobody else could see it. So even if it was an object, that was there. Others weren't capable of seeing it, so it was manipulated vision. So yes is the short answer.
There's a possibility, Gary, that you are one of the few scientists in the world who are investigating what is potentially the biggest scientific discovery of all time, isn't it?
Yes, and what I actually hope to find, let's say, is that on the inside there are other scientists who've been working on this problem for many more years than I've even been interested in. And they can basically, I'd be perfectly happy with them stepping forward and taking the limelight. Because it's not about what I want to find, it's about what is. And if others are there which already know it, let's catch everybody else up.
So Jim, let's talk about Jim for Texas.
Right.
Jim's happy to be interrogated. He wants to be challenged. He's so thrilled that there might be any kind of scientific investigation into what he says. Is there interest in having a look at what he's got?
Oh, absolutely. I would, but again, it's the resources and capability have to be there. I'm not going to go down there and ask him to give me the thing, and then I just take it home and wait to, set up the kinds of analysis that need to be done.
If and when you've got a laboratory that will accept
Absolutely.
this technology and be able to scan it properly, you can do it.
Absolutely. I have looked at many things over the years. You probably, some of your listeners might know the Atacama mummy example. Somebody wanted it to be an alien. I said, let's use science to study it. No, it turns out to be, unfortunately, probably a stillbirth of some kind.
And I know Dr. Greer has maintained that you were obviously got by the intelligence agencies to stop you from revealing the fact that it was alien.
Well, he knows where the sample is, and the good thing about science is he could go back and test it again.
So the point that you're making is that you're prepared to be rigorous and challenge the believers
Right.
when you can prove it.
There's actually another, they called it the Star Child skull, that I, basically got my hands on to look at. It also is just human. I mean, it's not about the most spectacular cases, and this is the same thing in science. The best science is always noticing the points that are off the curve, that are the unexpected, because first of all, you have to explain why that point is off the curve, because there might be something wrong with your experiment. But if it is off the curve and it's absolutely reproducible, then you've discovered something novel. This is what we're looking at right now. It's off the curve. If it is real, it is, as you say, the biggest discovery in human history. But if it is real, it's already been discovered by the governments. So let's just get it over and get the information out and start, bringing the collective intelligence of the planet to study.
Final question. From what you know of these whistleblowers and the determination of the people in the Congress and people like the on Chris Merk, do you think we're going to get answers soon?
Yes.
How soon?
I think in the next 2 years.
And do you think there will be public hearings where people reveal into the Congress what they know?
Whether they're public hearing at the beginning, no, I don't think. But I think we're getting ready for a public announcement.
Wow. And do you think that public announcement might be there is another life form of intelligence on this planet?
Yes. That's the only trajectory you've got. I've always said that I've only ever been interested in studying the inevitable or working on the inevitable in my science. So I think it's inevitable.
Professor Gary Nolan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
One, and we are live on YouTube. Welcome. It is your fearful host in this residual time pandemic podcasting, joined by
first discovered by Executive Officer Kane in the cargo hold of a derelict alien ship on LV-426 in 2122. This initial stage of the xenomorph is roughly 1 meter in height, ovoid, and leathery, with 4 petal-like lips at the top. Like a reptile egg, the leathery shell requires a moist environment to replenish albumin and external heat to develop properly. Resonance images taken aboard the USM Auriga showed an internal structure much like a reptile's egg, an amniotic cavity, a yolk, and a sac to support life, and albumin to supply hydration and shock absorption. Besides remarking on the humid heat of the cargo hold, Officer Kane also described a kind of field surrounding the eggs, consisting of a directed light and mist. It has been theorized that the eggs were in a kind of stasis field, dormant until triggered by a host large enough to accommodate an embryo. Uploads from Executive Officer Kane's suit showed that the eggs were at least partly translucent. He described the movement of organic life within. The Nostromo's away team did no carbon dating, so longevity speculations are questionable. However, the team noted that the alien
Kay, who went into that ship, said he saw thousands of eggs there. Thousands.
Thank you. That will be all.
God damn it, that's not all! Because if one of those things gets down here, then that will be all. Then all this bullshit that you think is so important, you can just kiss all that goodbye.
It is the finding of this court of inquiry that Warrant Officer E. Ripley, NOC 14472, has acted with questionable judgment and is unfit to hold an ICC license as a commercial flight officer. Said license is hereby suspended indefinitely. Now, no criminal charges will be filed against you at this time. A 6-month period of psychometric probation to include monthly review by an ICC psychiatric technician. These proceedings are closed.
Ripley, back to talk. We've lost contact with the colony on LB-426. I don't believe this. You guys throw me the wolves and want me to go back out there? Forget it. It's not my problem. Can I finish? No. There's no way. Ripley, you wouldn't be going in with the troops. I can guarantee you safety.
But I just want to go back and receipt to you.
There's nothing they can't handle. Lieutenant, alright? That's true. We've been trying to deal with situations like this. I'm not a soldier. Yeah, but we don't know exactly what's going on out there. It may just be a bad thing. Okay, but if it's not, I'll be there.
Team Deathmatch. Engage in all of them. Man, fuck
Administration. We're getting into a lot of terraforming now. Building. But I don't have There's working the cargo docks. Okay. Running loaders and forklifts for that. So, yeah. I think it's great that you keep
We have taken the lead.
Let's make a deal. I help you win, and you
When
give
you
me
say
some
that,
fun.
you get your reason. Come on, that's a second chance, kid. And I think personally, it would be the best thing in the world to get out there, face this, get the
Moving max.
I've read it.
I said no! Not to turn your laser sight on, but I have seen you the rest of the match.
Now please leave. I'm not going back. I would not be interested if I
Taken the
did.
lead. Enemy UAV.
Thanks for the call.
Hostile FAE
Let's clean the field of these a-holes. Activate.
Enemy in the area. Taking rounds. They shot the piss out of me.
Yeah.
Launching septic.
Okay. Just tell me what you think.
Reloading.
Hostile Guardian has been deployed.
Not to bring back, but to wipe. That's the plan. Yeah.
Do the thing, please.
Come on, come on, come on. Hey, man. Do it. Not me, man. Come on.
Trust me.
Gonna move on and she give me. Gonna move on and she give me now. Gonna move on and she give me a vote. Yeah, bro, your mic is loud. I can hear myself.
You never said anything about an android being on board. Why not?
It never occurred to me. It's just common practice. We always have.
Flash out!
Understood. That's what we want to do, sweetheart. We just want to go and get some. All right, people. On the right side. On your feet. On your feet. Outside. Sit on the red line. Here comes the dog.